Hi, this is John Alex. Welcome to the first match in a league run with Spiral Tides. We are on the draw. This hand is decent. Three cantrips actually. Two lands, Time Spiral, and a Merchant Scroll, which can get High Tide. Gonna keep this one. Our opponent playing first. And basic island. Ponder, okay. So might be Blue-Red Delver, Miracles, or a combo deck. Those are usually the decks that play Ponder and Basic Island. Of course, there's also the various Grixis decks now, but those usually shouldn't lead on Ponder turn 1. And I'm actually going to bottom the Brainstorm here. We don't have a fetch hand, and we already have two more cantrips, and we have the Merchant Scroll to get. Well, we do have the Merchant Scroll to shuffle actually. I definitely want the Flusterstorm. And yeah, let's also get the Brainstorm. In case our opponent has discard next turn, I think it's more valuable to keep the Flusterstorm. Because it's a card we definitely want. Whereas Brainstorm is a card we do not definitely want. If our opponent, for example, okay, they're Miracles. If there were a Storm, and they had a discard spell but not a kill here, drawing the Flusterstorm would have been bad, but drawing the Brainstorm would have allowed us to... So they have a discard spell. Okay, we want the extra land, we don't want the Meditate. If I play a discard spell, they could take the Flusterstorm and then go off next turn. But if they don't get to take the Flusterstorm, we get to keep the Flusterstorm, obviously. And Force Islands. I may want to draw this actually. Not sure about the island, but having a force is useful. But actually I think I'm going to shuffle this because I want to find something good with the Brainstorm. And we still draw a force, okay. And our opponent is making land drops. They no longer know any of the cards on top of the library, so they can't predict. And interestingly, they chose to not crack the Flooded Strand, so they also can't predict this turn. Not shuffling though. And I think I'm gonna fire off the Brainstorm Merchant Scroll combo. Yep, definitely if I draw another Merchant Scroll. And I'm not sure if I want the extra land. Intuition. I think I want to shuffle away the Intuition and the Merchant Scroll and take about 2 more turns until I go for Time Spiral. We're not really on any clock. Merchant Scroll on top, because if this gets countered, we just draw another Merchant Scroll and go for it again. And High Tide, there we go. Main phase Brainstorm, interesting. So our opponent might be digging for counter magic here. White mana. Explosives for 1, fair enough. This is one of the situations where I would like to have Gitaxian Probe in the deck. Not that I think I really need Gitaxian Probe here, but Would be nice to have. Going for the high tide here is just too risky. If we have to Fluster Storm, we just can't win. Because we'd have to tap too many lands. So I'm just going to keep making land drops. Of course, I'm also just going to keep drawing lands. Which is unfortunate because I want a blue card to pitch to the Force of Will. If our opponent has Vendilion Click here, that's mildly annoying. And if we draw a blue card next turn, I think it's mostly safe to go for the Time Spiral. Because then we have double Fluster Storm and Force backup. I think this matchup got a lot better with the removal of the counterbalance. Okay, so more cantrips. Did they shuffle? They did not shuffle the Ponder and immediately followed up with Portent, which is quite interesting. And now they have maximum 1 counterspell and some copies of Force of Will up. And this Merchant Scroll I'm actually not going to cast, but just keep to pitch for Force of Will. If we have to cast High Tide and 2 Fluster Storms, we still have 3 untapped lands, which on the High Tide are enough to cast Time Spiral. So that's what we're going to go with. Of course, if this just resolves and our opponent decides to fight over the Time Spiral, they get to cast more than 1 counterspell. But let's see where we can go. So this is... If our opponent casts a counterspell here, we can actually just Fluster Storm it, which is nice. Keeping the Merchant Scroll in the deck is definitely nice. And Force of Will we can't Fluster Storm quite yet. They do have 5 mana. And they only have to play 4. But now our Fluster Storms are hard counters. Because if they cast another spell, Storm's gonna be 6. Here's a counterspell. Predict, fair enough. That was easier than expected. We do have to watch out for the engineered explosives and not just jump Candelabra here. That being said, let's just go cantrip. I don't think we need another Time Spiral. Maybe we do. I mean, you can never have too much business. What did our opponent pitch? The Supreme Verdict. Okay, that's not good to have in the deck, definitely. And I think I'm going to bottom the Time Spiral, actually. We have 2 Merchant Scrolls, which are also pretty good. Keep the Ponder. Another Candelabra and a Fluster Storm. This would have been a decent Brainstorm. There's actually a Brainstorm, and I think I'm just going to Brainstorm into this. Because it's pretty good. Nope, don't want to shuffle. We do have Merchant Scroll to shuffle after the Brainstorm. Just getting to put back 2 lands, which is decent. And yep, it's Merchant Scroll. I'm not sure if I want to get High Tide or a combo piece here. Our opponent has access to 3 mana right now. We could get Turnabout and tap our opponent's lands. I actually think I like that. How many mana? We have 11 mana. Yeah, I like that. We don't even waste any mana on it, because we get to ponder with the 1 blue we have left. And tap. And our opponent also didn't actually use their mana, so this explosive does nothing now. Let's see if we can find another high tide. That would be decent. And there we go. Do we want the brainstorm? I don't think so. I think we'll just go for the we're just gonna Blue Sun Zenith ourselves now. No, shuffling. High tide. I mean, if the Zenith fails, we can still just time spiral. How much mana do we have? This is 18, 29. We lose how much on the Zenith? 5. Cunning Wish. There we go. We could brain freeze our opponent. That would also likely be lethal, but I think I prefer the Zenith because we're recording this. So we can Zenith for 14, because this is 18, the 6 we want to keep for the Time Spiral, and then we want to keep 1 more for the Flusterstorm. And there's Blue Sun Zenith. Undo. Zenith for 14 should be good. Okay. Our opponent needs triple force here to not lose. Or we need to draw a bunch of garbage cards in the Zenith. So Jace, Flusterstorm, the Force of Will. And this is gonna take a while. Yesterday I had a situation where Storm was 15, my opponent cast Flusterstorm, and then I had Flusterstorm all their copies, which was extremely tedious. And unfortunately we can't even F6 this, we have to click through every single Flusterstorm separately. We do need here to turn about here. And we did not. We do not have enough mana for Intuition into turnabout. So we may actually have to time spiral here, which is really stupid. We have 6, yeah. One mana short for, well, we also don't have turnabout in our deck. At least we don't have. But this was actually off Cunning Wish, was it? No, it wasn't. It came off the Merchant Scroll. So cast another High Tide and Time Spiral, which is extremely annoying. And we also only have 2 copies of Cunning Wish left in our deck, so we can't just well, we also couldn't cast anything after the Cunning Wish. So there goes Time Spiral. That's one annoying Drusen Zenith. Okay, so now we have a lot. 5 remaining. Of course, our opponent also might have just drawn another force here, which would be quite unfortunate. But we do have roughly infinite mana. Let's ponder first. Okay, so double Cunning Wish should do the trick. No, don't want to shuffle. This is another. Okay, so they tap for 5 now. We should be able to Cunning Wish for enough to kill our opponent. Or blue. Oh, we can't actually Zenith. So that's annoying. But we can Cunning Wish for Intuition. Cunning Wish for Brain Freeze first, then Intuition. Then Intuition for Merchant Scroll. And then yes, we do want to use this. There's Brain Freeze. So we could Cunning Wish for Intuition, and Intuition for triple Merchant Scroll, and then Merchant Scroll for Drusen Zenith. And we actually we wasted 10 minutes on this game just because I wanted to go for the Drusen Zenith rather than the Brain Freeze with the first post-Time Spiral Cunning Wish. Gotta bring in Defense Grid because that's decent. I don't actually think we need Candelabra here, or at least I was told you don't really need it. I'm gonna board out 1 High Tide because I was told you should not lose to Surgical Extraction. Also board out Intuition. Want Mystic Remora and another Flusterstorm. So I was told sideboarding in this deck works. You always want to board out 1 High Tide and Intuition because you don't want to lose to Surgical Extraction. And then you don't need the Candelabras in long game matchups because they kind of act like land drops. Excuse me. And then Mystic Remora, Defense Grid are good cards to bring in here as this Flusterstorm. We actually may have wanted to bring in some bounce. Our opponent might have Atherson Canonist, Meddling Mage. And now that I think about it, Canonist is most likely going to be in the deck. And these both go to the bottom. Time Spiral, we get a combo piece, that's neat. And we can also still Cunning Wish for High Tide, so theoretically we have everything we need, and if this is Canonist, I have to force it, I think. We could also just try to make our opponent never cast a spell, and then, or if our opponent casts a spell, we Cunning Wish for a bounce spell, but we don't have Wipe Away in our sideboard, so that's not really working. So if they just don't do anything, they can attack for 2 each turn. And interestingly, they elect to, or they can't force through the Canonist. More islands. This is not looking amazing, but it's also not too terrible. We have virtually both combo pieces in hand. Would like to draw some extra counter magic. Losing one of the Cunning Wishes is annoying because Cunning Wish is an important piece of the combo. We only have 2 Cunning Wishes left in the deck, and we need to resolve at least one of them for a combo piece. Turnabout, that's decent. So if we cast Cunning Wish for High Tide, we can never Cunning Wish for a bounce spell. They shuffle. Wow, they just don't have blue mana. And they did not force through the Canonist, which kind of makes me want to Cunning Wish for High Tide and go for it here. I actually think I'm just gonna do that. And there we go, High Tide. Maybe that's greedy, maybe that's a correct read. Okay, so this Merchant Scroll doesn't really actually change anything, does it? If we had a blue card pitch, we could High Tide. Yeah, I'm Merchant Scrolling for Flusterstorm here. It is slightly annoying, excuse me, that we didn't know about the Merchant Scroll, because I would have much rather Merchant Scrolled for High Tide than used the Cunning Wish. Because as I said before, now we only have 1 Cunning Wish left in the deck. And if this is a hate piece, we are dead. Like, if this is Aetherstone Canonist, we can no longer win the game, because we don't have any win conditions main deck. And we only have 1 Cunning Wish left to get a bounce spell. So I think I just should have still gone for it despite drawing the Merchant Scroll. Interestingly, if we High Tide our opponent despite only having 1 island, and yeah, we actually just lose to this. That was really bad. Yeah, that was too bad. Really should have gone for it. And I am gonna board a bounce spell for this one. Do we want Snap? I think Snap is the one we want. What do we board out? Meditate maybe? Maybe that's bad. I really have no idea. Maybe a Turnabout. Yeah, let's board out a Turnabout. So we might have won this game had we not drawn the Merchant Scroll. This hand is decent. Keep. Aetherstone Canonist is a really annoying card to play against. Wouldn't be as bad as if it were an artifact itself. Opponent has red cards, that is interesting. This kind of makes me want to not cast Brainstorm here, but I think I also want to cast the Ponder, so let's go for it. Okay, so no Red Blast. How many Flusterstorms do we want? I think all of them. I don't think we need the Meditate. Actually, let's shuffle away the Brainstorm because it's by far the worst cantrip if we don't have a fetch land. And we only have 5 more left in our deck. Of course, as I said before, Merchant Scroll also shuffles. Just bottom both of these. Defense Grid. Maybe not the greatest draw, but also not the worst. Land would be decent here. Mystic Remora. If we had a land, we could defense grid with Flusterstorm backup. That would be extremely good. But as it is, we can only ponder shuffle. Yeah. So we cast Brainstorm, Preordain, Ponder, and had 3 draw steps. Okay, 2 only. And we cannot find lands. That is... Yep. Missing the 3rd land drop. After seeing a lot of cards. That is unfortunate for sure. And now our opponent is going to play Athos and Canonist. Fluster, okay. Blue mana. Ponder, sure. If we draw a land, I'm still going to play Defense Grid. Unfortunately, we can't play the Mystic Remora because we can't really pay for the cumulative upkeep. At least they shuffle. With the way the second game went, they might be valuing Athos on Canonist too highly. More defense grids. This... No, we still have to preordain. If we find a land here, I'm gonna play defense grid. Where are all the lands? Do I want to keep the Brainstorm? I don't think so. I think it's too risky. There we go, finally. And this has to get countered, likely counterspelled. But that's okay with me because we have another defense grid. And if we draw a land next turn, I'm going to play Remora, then defense grid, and then still have Flusterstorm back up. Then we pay 1 for the Remora, and Merchant Scroll next turn with Flusterstorm back up. And the next turn with the cumulative upkeep trigger on the stack, gonna pay for cast Hightide. Of course, that is assuming we draw another land, and this is gonna counterspell anyway. Snapcast, wow. Wow. That is very interesting. Does our opponent just not have counter magic? I mean, this has got to be Athos on Canonist. The fact that our opponent has to cast Canonist with 1 billion mana up in order to be able to counter something. It does help us. Important. Fair enough. This non-creature spell is unfortunate because Canonist is a creature spell. And there is Canonist, fair enough. Unfortunately, we can't Merchant Scroll into bounce and then immediately bounce. So if our opponent has Pyroblast here, we likely are just dead. Because we can... they do have mana. And so what do we want to do? I think we cast the Merchant Scroll still. Not having Wipe Away in the deck is slightly annoying here. And snap. Let's play the second grid. That is actually really good because now our opponent needs to pay 6 for a counterspell in our turn. And we can snap the Athos on Canonist. I should have thought of that. Of course, we still need Hightide in order to win. Okay, so there's Actually, they need 6 for Force of Will. Okay. If this is another Epheson Canonist, we're in big trouble. Brainstorm. So what are we gonna do here? We could snap the Epheson Canonist, but I don't think that's good. Because we can never counter it when it comes back down, and we would then need to brainstorm into High Tide and a land. So I think we have to hope that our opponent, 1, does not have Force of Will in hand, and 2, misses the land drop. Actually, either of those is good enough for us. So let's brainstorm. Well, we can Cunning Wish for High Tide, but that takes a lot of time. These Fluster Storms not doing anything. Not having a shuffle effect is annoying. I think we're losing this game. Yeah, and there's land. I mean, we can potentially win. We Cunning Wish next turn for High Tide, and then we need to resolve Snap on our next turn. Okay, so tapping out of counter magic. They do choose to shuffle. However, we still can't go off. If we had High Tide here, we could, but unfortunately we can't. Yes, I do want to use this. Having Wipe Away here would be nice. But there's High Tide. And if our opponent has, yeah, I think this means we're dead. Our opponent knows about the snap, about the High Tide. Defense grid is on board. I don't think there's any way they can mess this up. I mean, if they cast spells here, that would be decent for us. But honestly, they don't have to do anything. Let's see what is in the sideboard in terms of bounce. Both of them. I mean, even a red elemental blast at this point kills us. Think we need to brainstorm. Well, actually, I don't think we can win this game, period. I'm going to play the Mystic Remora. Actually, that was bad because I want our opponent to cast a spell. And Remora makes it so that they won't. Of course, they might also just have infinite counter magic and blow one on the Remora and then have another one next turn. We were missing too many land drops early. Okay, so they're actually countering this, which is interesting. Yep, fine by me. And there goes nothing. The odds that this resolves are pretty much 0. Yep, they have something. That was an unfortunate way to lose the game. Okay, so we can actually pay for this. Wow. I don't think we have any place still, but I think we could win this if we had Candelabra in our deck. She sideboard. Yeah. So what can we do? I don't think we can do anything. High tides. If we had another snap, we could actually win. But this is not another snap. Yeah, we're dead. Unfortunate. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you tomorrow with the second match in our league run with Spiral Tide. And don't forget to vote for the next deck I'm going to record with. I'm going to put a link to the straw poll in the description down below. Thank you very much for tuning in. Take care.